Haven't started this car in a week. It's been sitting probably just over a week, and I changed the fuel pump maybe 2 weeks ago. I've had the car out 3 times since I changed the fuel pump. So anyways, we'll see how this cold start goes. Take it for a drive. It'll be like the 4th time. So the idle hasn't really relearned yet. Just because it's been sitting a week, I want to wait and just let kind of like the transmission fluid and stuff move around for a minute before I move the car. But yeah, I bought the most expensive fuel pump they had available, like fuel pump assembly they had on Rock Auto, and it lasted less than a year. I started having problems with it, I was going through everything. I was like, because I was having warm start issues, and I was like, oh my god, it's the injectors, or it's got to be the mass airflow sensor. I have 2 mass airflow sensors I can play with. I have a Delphi one, and I have the original Mitsubishi 501, but I only have 1 screen mesh for them, and this car was acting up like without the screen mesh, because this car sat for 15 years, so mice kind of went through it, and we're like eating some of the wiring. That's why my fuel injectors are directly, wired to the PCM, and the little mesh for the mass airflow sensor, a mouse had eaten a hole right through. So I only have the 1 mesh, and I have to take 24 hours to kind of seal it back into like whatever mass airflow sensor I want to use. So right now it's running on the original Mitsubishi mass airflow sensor. But I gotta jump out of the car for a second because I just gotta shut the garage quick. Then we'll take this thing for a spin. But the new fuel pump seems to be running good. So that's good. In my camera, it kind of stays because, like I said, it's my phone on the dash, and I can't really, get to it a lot. Just 1 second here. You'll hear the car's a bit loud. I have a bit of an exhaust leak, and I weld, and I can't get to it because it's like behind the motor. I think like the exhaust comes down off the motor at the back and the front, and it comes down to like a Y pipe, and then it comes under the car. I think it's like straight up, like behind, and I don't think I could get back there to weld it. So the car's pretty loud right now. But yeah, it was super embarrassing, like when the fuel pump like got to like its worst. I'll explain what happened in a sec here. Yeah, the car's been sitting for like a week because I'm trying not to drive it too much. In the winter, the car was undercoated, crown undercoated. In Canada, I don't know if you guys have this in the States, but in Canada we undercoat our vehicles with oil. Because it prevents rust from developing. So this car had gone to Crown to be undercoated. And the thing is, it like, so when the fuel pump was going, I had this appointment coming up. I was like, fuck, I don't want to miss it. So I took the car anyways, and you know, it was cold starting fine, but then it was giving me like a little bit of problems, like to warm start, but up like towards like the fucking appointment day, it was taking a long time, like 10 or 20 minutes to start the car. So so what happens is I get the Crown and I warn him, I'm like, dude, listen, this fucking thing is probably not gonna want to start, you know, so we should shut it off like as little as possible. He's like, okay, sure, whatever. Anyways, that day, it was the worst fucking the fuel pump's ever been. And so I get there fine, and then now they can't start it. So they got to ask me to start it for them. And so I start it, and they move it into like the building or whatever to undercoat the car, and they do that. And now it won't start. Like, it just absolutely won't. It was so embarrassing. The male employee there, he was like super into this car because he drove a Mitsubishi Lancer. So he was like, man, I want to, you know, he was all excited about it. So I think he wanted to sit in it, and he made the female employee push the car, and they had to push it out of the building. And after it had been undercoated, and once it was pushed out, fuck, I bet it took like, I don't know, at least 20 minutes of cranking to start. I'm very proud of my battery. I can't believe that my battery held up that long. But so I got it back, and then I think it was like a week later, because I wasn't really using the car. I was like, fuck it, because like I wanted the undercoating oil to kind of it's not going to really solidify, but just kind of seep where it needed to go. So I was like, fuck it, I guess I'll go online and try and find a better fuel pump than the one I bought. The most expensive one on the Rock Auto, like the assembly, was a Carter. And I was like, fuck, I don't want to get one of them again, because like the last one lasted like less than a year, right? So I'm like, I'm looking around because I'm trying to find a place that'll ship to Canada. That's the problem. And I can't really find anything. So I'm like, fuck it. I guess I'll just buy another Carter. So I get the Carter, and I've had no problems with it so far. But, you know, like, I don't know how long that's going to last. But yeah, with these cars, the only thing that's a little bit off now is from me changing the fuel pump. I had disconnected the battery. The idle, like stock, it's supposed to be 650 RPM. No, sorry, 700 RPM plus or minus 50 at a stop. And until, you know, all the testing, like as far as the ECU relearning, not testing, that can take a bit of time. The Mitsubishi says like up to 500 kilometers driving. So, you know, my idle will be like low for a little bit, and then once it gets relearned, it'll kind of rise up. It's just trying to figure out where the idle air control valve needs to be open versus like where my BIS screws open to. My BIS is stock right now. It's from seated, it's 1.5 screws out. So, and I always have, like, once everything's relearned, my idle's perfect. You know, and one other thing I should mention about the BIS screw, a lot of people don't talk about this, but the BIS screw, like, you know, if you open it now, you're bypassing the idle air control valve for air, right? You know, so it seems like you're raising the idle, but you're not really, because the ECU is going to compensate and shut. If you open the BIS a little bit more, the idle air control valve is going to shut a little bit more. It's going to take some time, right? So, but the thing is, like, and a lot of people don't talk about this, is that BIS screw, it directly kind of correlates to fuel trims as well. Because when I was trying to, like, 1.5 turns out is supposed to be stock, but depending on your car, like, it's been set from factory, it could be different. I'm gonna try and adjust this. I can't reach it, never mind. It could be adjusted. Maybe yours is like 1.75 out from factory, right? Like, you don't know, and like, these cars are so old now, you don't know if somebody's fucked around with it and screwed it up, right? So, anyways, I had my scanner hooked up to the car, and I'm fucking around with the BIS screw, and I'm watching the scanner, right? And I'm watching the fuel trims, and you can lean it out or richen it with adjustments to the BIS. So what I did was I was trying to get it as close to zero, right? Like, I don't want to be negative or positive too much. And getting it basically to zero, that was 1.5 turns. So I know for my car, it's 1.5. And it makes sense because, like I said, once this car's relearned, its idle's perfect. It's always 700 plus or minus 50. So, but yeah, car's running really good. I just wish, I have two problems with the car I gotta figure out. One is my exhaust is a bit loud, and like I said, I think it's behind the motor, like up by where the headers are. It's above the cat for sure. So I got to work that out. It sounds pretty good, but fuck, I'd rather it sound better and not be an exhaust leak, you know what I mean? Like, I can tell it's an exhaust leak. The other thing I gotta figure out is, the way these cars, like, their AC compressors work is, they need to be run to keep the seals lubricated. And this car sat for 15 years, right? So the seals got fucked. So the car doesn't have AC now. I checked to see if there was any Freon or whatever the fuck in the piping, and there isn't. And I can't add it to it because I know the seals, like, it went somewhere, right? It obviously leaked out the fucking compressor. Now, the AC works, like, as far as, like, the electronics. I push the button, right, it turns green, everything's good. It's just not coming out cold, and then I checked and there's no Freon. So, but, like, it's a convertible, so I don't know if it's, like, super important to get the AC fixed for me. Like, it's in Canada, right? Like, fall and spring you're not really using it. In the winter you're not. And then you know, in the summer you'd put the top down. So I don't know if it's worth like the price of a compressor and then somebody filling it, because like I wouldn't try one of those. Like I could replace the compressor myself, but I'm not going to try to replace the compressor and then fill it, because I don't have one of those machines that can pull vacuum like from the system. I don't think it would be a good idea to I don't think it would be a good idea to try and do it myself. I don't want to wreck it, right? Yeah, no, just talking about the drivability of this car, it's running really good right now. It's funny what a working fuel pump will do for that. But yeah, I just wanted to take it for a quick spin. It had been sitting, like I said, for maybe a week and a half, and this is the 4th time it's gone out with the new fuel pump. So I'm sorry if the camera's shifted around. Like I said, it's I'm just recording with my iPhone, and it's like sitting on my dash, so I don't know how stable that is. For gaming stuff, like I usually upload videos like kind of just showing how stuff runs on the 7800 XT, my graphics card. But I've been playing Passive Exile 2. I don't know if any of you guys have been playing that, but it's so addictive. That game, oh my god. Like if you're into those like ARPGs where you're like, you know, you're kind of like I guess like stat building, like for damage numbers and stuff, like fuck, it's so good, it's amazing. I'll sit down at my computer, like I just picked up the Dead Space 2 remake, and I was gonna play that. I played maybe 10 minutes because it was on sale from $79 down to $19, and I was gonna play that, and I was like, fuck, I can't, like I don't want to play anything other than Passive Exile 2. And it's in early access right now, but I'm in Act 2 right now. I think I'm level 20 or 21. But yeah, it's just, sorry for going on about gaming for a second, but it's fucking amazing. It's so good. But yeah, I'm super happy with how the car has been running. Fuck, it's like mint. I was pretty down about the car because I put so much effort into the car. Like I took that Osfo shit. It's made by Osfo. It's that phosphoric acid, and any existing rust I wanted to treat because it converts rust from rust oxide to rust phosphate. So like, I'm not kidding. I took that shit and I did the entire undercarriage of my car, like everything, before it went to get ground treated. So I fucking applied like phosphoric acid to it. Some parts, you know, like I also then treated it with a oil-based rust-proof paint, because the Osfo, it acts as a primer for oil-based paint. So I did that, and then I took it and got it crown undercoated, so the thing should just be fucking like so rust-proof now underneath. Just trying to do anything to fucking preserve the car. But I'll grab the camera, I'll show you my idle. So this is it. In what do you call it? You know, in park. It's pretty steady. I was doing pretty good. Fuck, I'm trying to hold this. I'll put it into reverse. Like you'll see idle changes. When it was at its worst, it was either in reverse or drive. So I think that basically did it as far as like, you know, resetting the idle. I guess 4 trips out. I always do kind of the same trip around the block. It's like 10-15 minutes or whatever, maybe 20 minutes. So, and that's park again. So yeah, she's doing pretty good. And I just wanted to say thank you very much for taking the time and watching. Take care.